Approaching 27 minutes past 8, East Coast Radio, and today at about 10 o'clock this morning, there's going to be a memorial service for Ross van Dresselt, a 17-year-old youngster. He was killed when he was on a motorbike and he was hit by a bus. It was in Durban North and McCurtain Avenue. In fact, if you go to McCurtain Avenue, and I think just outside Oscars, you can see there's some flowers, a little memorial for him. Memorial service is going to be held at the Christian Revival Church in Mgani Park. The reason I'm talking about that is because in the next half hour, the last half hour of the show, I'll be chatting to Hein, the publisher of a community biking magazine called Bike Talk. He's also the editor of the magazine, and he writes regularly about motorcycle safety and various other issues. He's also the road captain or safety officer for the Durban Bikers Federation, which ensures safety and safe travel on bike events like the toy run and other mass rides, for example, biker funerals and charity runs. They also support an organization called Think Bike, whose aim is to create biker awareness amongst motorists and other road users. In this line, he hears daily of bike accidents, and some fatal, some not so fatal, invariably caused by the negligence and recklessness of other road users. As a member of CMA, the Christian Motorcyclists Association, is also called upon to visit injured motorcyclists in hospital and to pray for the families of those who have been killed in accidents as well as those who have been injured. And he speaks today. The whole idea is to make other motorists aware of the fact that motorcyclists exist and the type of things that motorcyclists are allowed to do, not allowed to do. It's all about changing mindsets, because all it takes is to not look in your side mirror, not see this motorcyclist there, and just turn over without changing lanes because you don't think that there's another vehicle user there. Next thing you know, you've killed a motorcyclist, and it's going to change your life forever. That's coming up in the next half hour right here on East Coast Radio.
Did I say it out loud? Did you find out? Yeah, I want to have your
8:38, and in this morning's business report in the Mercury, there's a story that commuters are turning to scooters. Seems that motorcycle sales rose 15.5% last year in South Africa, according to figures released yesterday by the Association of Motorcycle Importers and Distributors. This comes on the same day as the memorial service for Ross van Dresselt, a 17-year-old who was killed when he and his motorcycle were hit by a bus in McCurtain Avenue in Durban North last week. So we decided to call in Hein, who's the publisher of the community biking magazine called Bike Talk. He's also the editor and writes regularly about motorcycle safety and various other issues. He's also the road captain or safety officer for the Durban Bikers Federation, and they ensure safety and safe travel on bike events like the Toy Run. And he's also a member of CMA, the Christian Motorcyclists Association, so he's also often called upon to visit injured motorcyclists in hospital to pray for them and their families. Hein, thanks again for joining us on East Coast Radio.
Pleasure, thank you for having me.
First of all, South African motorists, do you think they're sufficiently aware of motorcyclists on the road?
Well, if you look at the statistics, it actually proves that they're not.
Right.
They're not. Every day we hear of accidents, and then the predominant factor of that is the fact that the motorcycles are smaller than cars and therefore not visible enough for motorists to really see them or notice them when they travel on the roads nowadays.
There's been so many stories in the newspaper about cyclists being injured and killed, and it seems as if motorcyclists are also viewed like cyclists as more of an irritation value than anything else, and instead of seeing them as legitimate road users. Would I be correct in saying that?
Yeah, Daryl, I would say the reason for cyclists to be involved in accidents as well, motorcycles are a lot faster than cyclists, but the request that we would make to motorists out there would be to see these people as people and not as cyclists or bikers or motorcyclists out there. These are people traveling on their preferred method of transport. And we would need to share the road and respect each other in that way.
You'd say, figures that you told me about early on, that up to 70% of motorcycle accidents seem to be caused by, should we say, the negligence or unawareness of motorists of the existence of the motorcyclists. Is that correct?
No, that is correct. They're caused because they didn't see the motorcycle, or the motorcyclist wasn't visible enough by means of wearing visible clothing like a yellow jacket or had his headlights on. And also, motorists are preoccupied. They listen to radio in the car, they're on cell phones, busy putting makeup on, and they just don't pick up these kind of things. So, yes.
Is it a two-way thing? I mean, you suggest that motorcyclists also have to almost go out of their way to show that they're existing on the road and that they're sharing a lane with a motorcyclist. Is that true? With a motorist?
Yes, it is. At this stage, the legal issues about lane splitting, as we would call it, where we would overtake a motor car in the same lane. At this stage, it's not proven illegal, so it's still allowed to be done by motorcyclists. And I've seen this morning traveling up from Mansmtoti that the majority of motor vehicles are actually giving way in their existing lane for me to come past. There's no real need for the motorcyclists to start weaving between traffic and increasing the risk of an accident like that. So I think it's a visibility thing. And that motorists should just be a little bit aware about what's going on behind them, because the one moment the motorbike or the motorcyclist is far away, you don't see him, and the next moment he's right next to you. So when you do look in your rearview mirror, just double check your blind spot, because they are smaller, they are fast, and it's very difficult to judge the speed of these motorcyclists. Some do travel at legal speeds, some don't. And that's what we call, 120 plus VAT. So, it's just look twice, look a little longer, and think bike, and try and see them in your blind spot before you do a maneuver like a lane change or going through a junction or intersection.
I think you summed it up quite well in that statement. Think bike. Think to yourself, all right, I can't see a truck, I can't see a car. What if there's a bike there?
Yeah, correct. Because also from a biker's perspective, sitting right next to a car, you're totally invisible to that motor vehicle driver. Again, we call it a blind spot, and then most of us would sit in such a way behind a motor vehicle or even a truck, because trucks don't have rear view mirrors; they only have side view mirrors. So sitting behind a truck, if you can't see his mirrors, you are not visible to him. You really have to go out there and make yourself visible in such a way that you kind of avoid any possible accidents and scenarios like that. What I do sometimes, and also suggest this to any biker, is when you approach a car from behind, do a left-right swerve in the existing lane, a controllable swerve, to make sure that the motor vehicle in front of you, the motorist in front of you, do see you. And then, just step back a bit, put your indicator on, indicate clearly that you want to come past this car, and it definitely makes a difference.
Is there a way, as a motorcyclist, if you're behind a car, is there any way that you can sort of get an idea that the motorist has seen you?
Well, not really. Sometimes you would see that the person is looking up into his rearview mirror, and that you would notice that he's definitely seeing you. Also, I've seen in the past where you approach a vehicle and he cannot go into the middle lane because there are cars in that lane. And they would indicate to you with their right indicator that they've seen you, and they're moving left in their lane, allowing you to come past. Now, that's what I call good manners and being very considerate. And we thank the motorists for that. But unfortunately, I cannot say that for everyone out there.
Yeah. South African motorists are notoriously aggressive. It's almost as if they're trying to race the guy next to them, or if someone comes behind them is slightly faster, they say, no, you're not going to beat me. And I can imagine it's added sort of frustration if they're stuck in traffic, or if they're going slow and what have you. And see a guy on a motorbike who clearly doesn't have to worry about that, because, he just simply goes between the vehicles. Do you think that motorists have got that sort of almost like a negative sort of feeling towards the motorcyclists, almost like jealousy because they can't nip through traffic?
Yes, I would be if I was a motorist. If I see a biker coming past me in traffic, I'm very frustrated when I get caught in traffic, and if a bike comes past me, and that's why I preferred, when I came up this morning from my Mansmtoti, preferred coming up with my motorbike, because I knew I would be on time and not get caught in all this traffic and accidents we had on the road this morning. So yes, and also that's what you would see, increase in sales on motorbike sales. It's just phenomenal. People are buying bikes left, right and center, road and off-road. And off-road is even bigger, but that's not the issue this morning. But that's why we'd see increase in sales.
All right. Next, we'll be chatting about what's involved in making sure a mass biking event is safe, and also what type of things he says to the friends and family of people who have been tragically killed in biking accidents. That's next, right here on East Coast Radio. Hein, is there a specific, or should we say a common event that seems to be cropping up as far as accidents are concerned involving motorcyclists?
Yes, the most popular one, if I could use the word popular, is when cars make a right-hand turn at traffic lights, or even when they pull off the road and trying to get back on the road or make a U-turn in front of these bikes. Because what you get now is when the person making a right-hander or trying to make a U-turn, they see the bike and then they freeze up and hit the brakes. Now, instead of having a moving motor vehicle in front of you, you have a stationary one. And for you to hit the brakes on your bike, although some of these bikes can brake as hard as a car can, but it's only got 2 wheels on the tire instead of 4. And they sometimes just cannot stop on a dime, like we would say, and they would hit the car.
All right.
And such at that speed and at that distance allowed, it's just impossible for the bike to make an emergency stop.
Let's talk about mass bike events. As the road captain or safety officer for the Durban Bikers Federation, you're involved in making sure events such as this are safe. How do you go about making sure that all these bikers getting together, all that adrenaline, all that testosterone, how do you make sure that such an event like that happens safely?
Well, in Durban, we have about 22 to 25 motorcycle clubs, which you will be familiar with, like the Hells Angels and so on, and CMA ourselves, and various other clubs like the Highway Drag and so on. And inside each club, we have a road captain or a safety officer. And all of us, we would get together and we would put on, traffic vests that would say KZN Motorcycle Federation on it. And we would marshal the traffic in conjunction with the local traffic authorities, helping, especially with the toy run, where we would leave from Pavilion, go down to the South Coast, or even this weekend we have the motorcycle run against crime, which will leave from Pavilion down to Ilbury Country Club. And there again, traffic marshalling would have to take place, organizing the run. And what we normally do is we kind of try and break this huge group of 1,000, 2,000 bikes up into smaller, manageable groups, and allow the traffic officers and also our road captains to manage these groups all the way along the route, and making sure that we don't get cars in between the groups and break the group up like that and increase the chances of an accidents or occurrences like that.
You're also involved in speaking to people who've been involved, injured in accidents, and also those who've been left behind from people who've been killed in accidents. What do you say to people like that? Do you say, look, it wasn't your fault, or what can you say to people like that?
Yeah, Daryl, it's a difficult situation. Not every situation are the same. But what we do is, like a typical thing, we had a biker went down about 2-3 weeks ago on the M4. He hit a truck from behind, and he had a lot of injuries. His wrists were broken, his leg was broken, the bike caught fire while he was still in the bike. Really injured bad. And his wife called us up and asked us to come and pray for him. What we do is we go to the hospital and we pray over him and also for his family, and leave him with a biker's Bible that he could read through and various other items. And then we keep in touch with their family, should the person survive, just to check on the progress of his recovery. And in the cases of where the bikers passed away, we also, counsel with them and just talk to them and try and encourage them to get through this whole ordeal. And then obviously we are there when they have their biker funerals. We are also there to support them in this situations.
The whole idea behind this chat was to encourage motorists to think bike. Have you got some hints and tips for motorists to think about, help them think bike?
Specifically motorists, double check your blind spot, please. It's really there for a reason. Not everyone checks it because they might be busy on a cell phone, or they might be busy with something, preoccupied in the car. Unfortunately, bikes can't listen to music on bikes, but please just check your blind spot twice. Make 100% sure. Just check the blind spot and twist your head as well. Just look around and make sure that there's not a bike around you. And then also on headlights, I know there's been a campaign going on in South Africa where motorists will also put their headlights on. And that'll be taking away the privilege that bikers have to be seen out there. So imagine all the cars put on their headlights now. The bikers will disappear. And so we're asking, okay, fair enough, in bad weather we have to put our headlights on, even on cars, but in normal daylights, please don't switch those on, because he'll make us disappear and the chances of accidents will just increase. And then lastly, U-turns and crossing, making right-handers at intersections. Double check. Don't think you can make it. The bike is faster than what you think. Do not make that judgmental error where you think you can make it before the bike gets to you. It's impossible. So just sit it out and have respect for that person on that bike and wait until he's past you.
All right. Hein, thank you very much. I know you've given me a whole series of hints and tips and other stuff. I'm going to put that on the blog within the next hour. You'll be able to check it out, see a picture of Hein and his bike, and it's a beautiful bike.
Yes, it is.
It's a beautiful bike. You'll be able to see Hein and the bike on the blog together with those hints and tips. And here's today's parting shot. Think about this as you enjoy Red Hot Chili Peppers. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. Unless, of course, it's pâté de foie gras. Until tomorrow at 6, stay close to your radio, and I'll see you around like a chocolate coin melting on a BMW's dashboard.